So, feelings running high, emotions all over, another overseas tour, another series lost, and everyone wants explanations. Now, if you've been watching these blogs, you'd have realized that you'd remember that I had actually said this was India's best chance of winning a series in South Africa. And the reason I said was that the batsmen had been there before, so they were a little more experienced, they knew what to expect in South Africa, and I thought India had a seam bowling attack that would prevent the opposition from giving you spicy wickets. The only concern I had was that India were not playing enough cricket in South Africa before the first test, but that is an issue that has dogged Indian cricket. Wherever there's a question of commerce versus scheduling, the commerce always wins. Now, what went wrong? I've often said that when you go overseas, the new ball becomes far more important than the new ball is in India. I keep repeating it all the time. Whether you're bowling it or batting against it, the new ball is a huge factor. India's openers have to play the new ball. India's middle order players have to play a slightly older ball. They've got to come in when the game has been set up for them. That is the mandate of the openers. Now look at the 4 innings that we've got so far. I'm not going to look at the opening partnership. I'm going to look at where wickets number 1 and 2 fell and see how many over what stage of the game they fell in. Look at the 2 innings in Cape Town. Look at the 2 innings in Centurion. So in 3 out of the 4, except the second innings in Centurion, number 4, that's Virat Kohli, was in inside the first 10 overs. In the 4th innings, he was in the 12th over. So what that is telling you is your middle order is facing the new ball. Not just that, it's facing fast bowlers who've tasted blood, and so they're running in, they're bowling quicker, they're up. Suddenly, the middle order batsmen, instead of taking the game forward, are having to pull the game back. And that's been an issue with Indian cricket all along. When did India play their best overseas? When Sehwag and Gambhir were giving you starts, when Sehwag and Akash Chopra were blunting, well, Sehwag was taking it apart, Chopra was blunting the new ball, India played well overseas. So for India to make a change, whether you're in South Africa or in England, the openers have to blunt the new ball, even if they don't score a lot of runs. But the middle order cannot be coming in and facing the new ball. What is the second factor? The pitches. Cape Town was a slightly spicy pitch. Centurion was a very different kind of pitch. It wasn't a subcontinent pitches. Don't get the kind of bounce on which A.B. de Villiers or Maharaj or some of the Indian batsmen got out. But India were not prepared for it. And that was the fear right at the start. I'm absolutely convinced, I've been saying it for 20 years, and it's not me, I'm not trying to take the credit for it. Everybody has been saying you need minimum of 2 first-class matches because you must finish making all the mistakes and all the adjustments before you go into the test match. And India didn't have the opportunity, so India were learning. You make a change in the second test match, the player coming out is again fresh. He hasn't had the time to adjust and to make the mistakes. So I believe this is mandatory, and I believe this is something that administrators around the world have to sit together if we have to ensure that there are decent away contests. Otherwise, test cricket is going to go down to home sides winning. So you come to India, I win, I go to South Africa, you win. That's not great for test match cricket. The other difference is when overseas spinners come to India, they look good, but the Indian spinners take more wickets. You got Ngidi, you got Rabada, you've got Morkel, big fellows, they hit the deck, the ball is up here. India got decent bowlers, but I think the quality of those South African bowlers on their pitches was very different. So those to me were the 2 major factors. There's a third, which is I think somewhere India's intensity in the bowling is a bit like one of those Snicko ultra edge thing that just go up and down. Suddenly there's great intensity and then suddenly it comes down, and we saw that in both test matches where all of a sudden the opposition builds up partnership. India's batsmen didn't have that. And so you look at Mohammad Shami, for example. I have enormous regard for Mohammad Shami's talent, but suddenly Shami goes missing. In the second innings he comes in, he bowls a spell that turns the game around, but Mohammad Shami is India's number 1 bowler in overseas conditions, has to set up the game in the first innings, not try and salvage it in the second. I also suspect India played too much easy cricket. Now that is something that we knew, and that is something you can do nothing about because that is the scheduling. You could not have said we will not play Sri Lanka at home because there are contracts, there are commitments. You have to play a home series. In the coming year, India play West Indies at home and then go to Australia, so we're going to have the same issue again. There's nothing you can do about that. But more than playing at home, I think it was the quality of the opposition. You can make a mistake and get away with it. You go to South Africa, you make a mistake, you can't get away with it. So that was a factor. I don't think you could have done too much about it, but that was a definite factor. There's one other thing I would like to look at. I think at the moment in Indian cricket, Virat Kohli is playing at a level that is different from that of everybody else. And I just wonder whether he thinks what works for him should work for everybody else. And that's understandable. Every player is like that. And so I wonder if he's demanding things and drawing people out of their strengths into players they are not, because he believes that's what works for him. And I think going ahead, while India play overseas, a key factor will be Virat Kohli understanding that not everybody is like him. Not everybody is playing at his level. Not everybody can play with that enormous intensity and still go out and be fresh enough to score runs. So I think that's going to be a factor going ahead as well. Can Kohli calm down and understand that players play at different levels to him, and that he has got to go down there and lift them up.